So let's move on to 45. This is such a strange key for the Gemini archetypes. Woo! The dark side of Gemini. I'm joking. I'm just, whenever I'm working with Gemini archetype or with Geminis, I like how they portray the fact that there are two Geminis, two sides of the Gemini. So you have the good Gemini and the bad Gemini. And I guess when in the shadow, of course, not when in the gift, but when in the shadow, this dominance can be a lot the bad Gemini because they have this kind of manipulative and dominant part. They are very clever and they are very smart and can use that mind in ways that are not so so lovely. But I was always like, how is this key a Gemini key? But then knowing that they have a dark side sometimes. The gift is synergy and the CD is communion. So I find here Gemini being the one who goes there into the world and has an impact and is the leader that helps people in a way. It brings that synergy and communion in his communities. And Gemini can do this a lot. So it's not just that they are good speakers and they have brilliant minds, but many times they can bring that brilliant mind and do a higher good for the whole community and the whole tribe. What I wrote here, and for me, whew, I don't know, felt in a certain way. I looked at the animal here, and the animal is buffalo. So I remember some years ago I was on El Camino, and from the shamanic cards I chose buffalo, and I was like, buffalo? How buffalo? And I had to stay with it a bit and just try to know what the buffalo does and why is it was my spirit animal back then. And what I felt strongly here with the jinki and the buffalo is they said that buffalo was a time of abundance and prayer, because whenever the tribe catch the buffalo, they were in such deep gratitude because it was a huge animal that they could use for the whole tribe. They use part of it for medicine. They use part from it to make stuff to get warm. And this is what I felt with 45. It's that kind of leadership that puts himself there for the community. So the buffalo really made sense for me, and maybe it makes sense for other people knowing more about shamanic symbols. And the channel, it's 2145, associated with money and with sustaining people. So I found this theme of abundance very interesting here. And as I said in the beginning, Gemini has this part of making stuff practical, using their mind to make business practical. And 45, I think, has this capacity here. How do you see it?
Yeah, I like what you're saying. I had forgotten what we were using last year for the image, and we were using the hub tree, and it sounds a little bit similar to what you were saying. You know, it is that part, it's knowing that all the trees are connected and all the trees are actually sharing nutriments with each other. And I guess that the 45 in that sense has the intelligence of understanding that, and also the distribution of the resources. So it has its natural throne, like you're saying, it has its intelligence, it knows how to speak, but really it has that goodwill, it has that generosity. You know, that is the king that we want to have in the community. It's tribal. So that's what for me has been a little bit hard, because I have the 31 really powerful in my chart, and I'm like, you know, leadership has to be for humanity, has to be for the collective, has to be, and there is something here with much more tribal with the 45.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel, I remember from the line companion canvassing, like there is something where also the 45 can bring in outsiders into the community. So I guess it's also seeing, you know, connected to the 44 somehow, that comes before, if you think about the progression of the I Ching, like seeing the synergy and the synarchy, like bringing in people that can come into the community and help with their gifts in order to in order to thrive even more. And the material plane, that's the thing. I feel like there is a certain groundedness as well, because we are in an air element, and it can be a bit airy and mental when it comes to Gemini. The 45 for me, I feel, and it's cool with the, here we see the roots, is taking it down to the material plane and saying, if this tribe is going to survive, we need to have flow in prosperity and abundance. That's a requirement, so it doesn't go up into the air, and forgets about the tangible. It's there, and it takes responsibility for that. So I
Mhm.
appreciate it as an archetype. I've seen several people that have the 45 and the 25, 26, which are the programming partners, and sometimes it's with the 36 and the 6 in the other side of the activation sequence or incarnation cross. I think it's actually the programming partner, the 26, that can be that can sometimes make it tricky. Like the 45 often shows up, and my experience is more be with the transpersonal line. So for example, 45 6, you have somebody that shows up as being in a lot of integrity, being really knowing what they are saying, feeling. Sometimes that happens with Gemini. They are so intelligent, so they seem like older than they actually are, just from their way of speaking. And then that the shadow frequency sometimes, you know, it's a trick. Maybe it's somebody that hasn't completely overcome the shadow, or the false belief of the poverty consciousness, but they speak as if they know it. But then when you kind of scrape a little bit, they're like, oh, you're just selling me this idea, but when I go into your life, I see that you are not living by these standards. So I would say, when you have the 45, and especially if you have both the 45 and 26, check yourself where you're telling a story that is more amazing and beautiful than actually what you have been able to embody in your own life.
Mhm.
Gemini is always this air. It's always this idea. It's beautiful, but it needs to come down into form and be lived as we are all becoming role models of our values, hopefully. So that would be a little bit of my warning for this archetype.
Mhm. Nice, nice. some some serious part is good too. And yes, that's a shadow of Gemini, for good.